In this video, we're going to talk about vague pronouns. What we mean by vague is the sentence is not clear because of the use of pronouns. Remember at the beginning of our pronoun lesson, we talked about if a sentence has too many pronouns, the sentence will be unclear because we won't know who we're talking about. So we're going to take a look at sentences that have too many pronouns, and we're also going to take a look at sentences that have pronouns that are misplaced. So before we get started, I want to talk about a few new pronouns that we have not discussed in class up until this point. These pronouns, I refer to them as the W pronouns because for the most part they start with W. We have the pronoun who, which, and then there's an exception, that. Of course, that's not a W pronoun. Notice how we have the name relative right there. So if we think of relatives, relatives need to be close to each other because relatives are close to each other. So the relative of a pronoun is a noun, because remember a pronoun replaces a noun. So with relative pronouns, which is the W pronouns plus that, so who, which, that, they need to be close to the noun that they refer to. So if we take a look at this sentence, two young women who wore matching sunglasses held identical collie puppies. We have our W pronoun right there, that who. That's our relative pronoun. Notice how it needs to be close to its relative, the person it refers to, which is women. So this sentence works. Then we have this sentence. Two young women held identical collie puppies who wore matching sunglasses. Again, this is the same sentence except we move that relative pronoun who. Notice this who has moved right next to our noun puppies. So this time, this noun is referring to puppies. So unless the writer of this sentence was trying to be funny, this sentence does not make sense because what it's talking about is puppies that wear sunglasses instead of women who wear sunglasses. So this would be considered an unclear sentence or a vague sentence. Take a look at this sentence here, the heavy rain destroyed my garden, which is unusual for this time of year. If we get a little context clues here, let's pretend it's June. And we all know that gardens grow in June. A lot of gardens grow in June. That's not really unusual. But if we look at this which is our W pronoun, this is a relative pronoun, notice how it's right next to garden, the noun garden. So this sentence is unclear. This is a vague sentence because it makes it sound like we're talking about a garden, which is unusual for this time of year. What the author really means is the heavy rain, which is unusual for this time of year, destroyed the garden. So again, notice how we have that one pronoun, that which. Now it's next to rain, and now this sentence makes sense. Take a look at another example. Julio bought cotton candy from a girl at the fair that was way too sweet. And then we have another sentence. Julio bought cotton candy that was way too sweet from the girl at the fair. This example is kind of like your worksheet where we're looking for which sentence is vague. In other words, which sentence is unclear. So our trick is the first thing we need to do is find our pronoun. Notice our pronoun is the T pronoun this time. It's still relative. It's that. And notice how that in this sentence is right next to our noun fair. So this is making it sound like the fair is way too sweet. It's pretty much impossible to taste a fair. So this sentence is vague. This is an unclear sentence. Notice in this sentence we move that pronoun that to the noun right before it, which is candy. Candy can be way too sweet. This sentence on the bottom is clear. Let's take a look at two more sentences. Although the blouse costs too much, it does look lovely with that skirt, or the blouse looks lovely with that skirt, but it costs too much. We're still looking at vague sentences here, but we're switching gears a little bit because now we're looking for not just relative pronouns, but we're looking for pronouns that are unclear, so they're vague. Take a look at the first sentence. We have that pronoun it right here. And the trick to this is we need to ask ourselves, do we know what it is? So although the blouse costs too much, it does look lovely with that skirt. Okay, that it, we know, refers to blouse. So this sentence looks good. Let's check this sentence out. The blouse looks lovely with that skirt, but it costs too much. Again, we have it. This time, I don't know what it is. It could be the skirt. It could be the blouse. We don't know what costs too much. This sentence is vague. This is an unclear sentence. This one here is a little easier. It explains how to install the new software and download the add-ons. The website explains how to install new software, download the add-ons. Notice how we have it here. We don't know what explains it. So this sentence, the top one, is unclear. It's vague. Miss Randall asked her daughter to chop, this should be chop. Chop the celery, but she couldn't find a knife. Or Miss Randall asked her daughter to chop the celery, but her daughter couldn't find the knife. Again, our trick is to find the pronoun. We have a couple here. We have her, we have she. We're going to focus on she for this one. So when I ask myself, who is she? Well, in this sentence, I don't know who she is. I don't know if it's the daughter. I don't know if it's Miss Randall. This sentence is unclear. Let's take a look at this sentence. Looking at her daughter. We're looking at who is her daughter. Who we talk about her? Well, her is Miss Randall. So this time, her is clear. So the top one is a vague sentence. Just as Mrs. Wilkinson finished brewing Maria a cup of tea, her cell phone rang. We need to find our pronoun, which is her. Ask ourselves, who is her? We don't know if her is Maria or Mrs. Wilkinson. This sentence is vague. This is a vague sentence. The Gibson's car has a dent in the bumper, but otherwise their car looks just like the Ballard's. Looking for my pronoun is there. And remember, you can always use your interactive notebook to find examples of pronouns. So if you're having trouble finding pronouns, just look in your interactive notebook. So there's our pronoun in this sentence. There, we ask ourselves, what is there? And we know that there is the Gibson's car. This sentence is clear. This is a good sentence. Eddie washed the windshield on his car, even though the car would just get dirty again. Looking for our pronoun, his. Do we know who his is? Yes, we know it's Eddie. This sentence is clear.